Mr. Mark Bare Naked Willie, how are you today, my friend?
Dave, I'm doing good. There it is. You're on mute, Dave.
I can't read it. Midwest Building Science Symposium. Hey, I know those guys.
You know, after years of Kansas City and then popping on other cities, the Building Science Symposium, Dave, is now a series traveling to other cities. And today we're covering the North Central one. This is a pre-show.
So the North Central one is North Central where?
I think everyone has to stay tuned in to hear that direct from our buddies on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch,
LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you might just want to do that because we are being watched almost 30,000 minutes. 30,000 minutes every 28 days. Actually, I think it's over 30,000 hours at this point. It's a lot. We're having so much fun growing our channel and growing what we do. And just so everybody knows, we're heading to Europe in a couple months. We have a 5-week tour of Europe that we're going to be traveling around. Mark, this is awesome. Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy, showcasing innovation in construction. And in the meantime, believe it or not, I'm on vacation down in Florida. How's the view? You wish you were with me?
I could tell you what, I wish I was having hard-boiled eggs and ham right next to you. Get your feet wet from me. It's a beautiful, beautiful view. Last night, of course, we had the pink full moon. Today is a special day for many people practicing. And Dave, two of our favorite peeps are going to be on the show. Two of our favorite peeps are going to be on the show. Are you ready?
Hey, listen, 1, I love peeps. 2, they're tasty. 3, these peeps actually have brains, unlike those marshmallows you're showing right now. So it's going to be a lot of fun to have them on the show. Should we bring them in? Shall we?
Travis Brungard, Joe Cook, Travis Brungard. You might know them from Catalyst. You might know them for BS and Beer. You might know them from a whole lot of things. And now you know that their series is coming to your town.
That's right. That's right. Let me put these guys full screen here. What's happening, fellas?
How you doing?
What's going on, gentlemen? You guys are real pros at this. Like, it's almost like you do this every week. It's a hell of a start. Nice work.
Yeah. You know, hey, it's not always the smoothest process, but we figure it out along the way. I love this view, Mark. I think we just keep those two full screen there. Looks like they're snuggled up in the back of a pickup truck.
The mobile office is one of our favorite places to get work done, mainly because we're everywhere. And you guys know how that goes, Dave. You've been on the road a long time, my friend. You know the comforts of the back seat as opposed to the cab.
You know what? The back seat's not a place to go. Not a bad place to be on a lot of occasions, especially on a job site. Sometimes when you're tired and you need a nap. But with that said, where are you guys in the back seat now? Are you outside like a Cabela's, a Bass Pro Shop, a job site? Where are you at?
Well, you remember the house in the woods? I know Mark does. He came and saw us out on site. We actually have a little warranty work. There was a hose bib that failed over the winter, and we got some air infiltration around the service cable and the conduit that brings electrical service from the meter into the house. And that air infiltration caused a little bit of a frost to show up. So we're doing some duct seal and a little bit of plumbing today. So we are in Kansas City, Kansas, near the House of the Woods. Parts unknown is, I believe, what I'm supposed to say, right, Mark?
Parts unknown. But we want some parts to be talked about. And that part is Minnesota. Joe, tell us what's happening in May. And let's get into the excitement that the Building Science Symposium is now a series, right? So North Central is kicking off 2023. Joe, what's going on?
Yeah, it is our first stop in the 2023 series, and it's May 9th and 10th, and we're really hoping everyone will come. We need all our northern friends to represent and learn building science.
And why would they not want to come, Joe? I mean, we got Jake back. We've got Steve back. We've got some new faces. We got Randy Williams joining us again. He was with us in Kansas City a couple years back, but we're in his backyard. How could we not have Randy? Do you want to tell him who else is coming?
Well, we got to divulge and talk about the beer a little bit too. So we're at Surly Brewing Company. It's a excellent brewery. Part of like what Travis and I are trying to do is bring together the building science and the beer. And so every stop we're focusing on both equally, I would say.
I'd like to think we provide a little bit more building science than we do beer. Otherwise, there'd be an awful lot of people that couldn't finish out the day. Yeah. But yeah, we say folks are drinking from a fire hose with the building science knowledge that's shared at these events. And the beer, I try to keep it to 2 or 3.
We're sipping. We're sipping from the beer and drinking the building science from a fire hose.
Well said.
So guys, tell me, right? This isn't the first one you've done. Why don't you share some of the experiences just from the most recent one that you've had? You know, and the reason you're adding more is because of the excitement and the value it has been bringing to people. So it's not like, hey, you said, hey, we just want to spend all of our time doing these events to educate. You started that way, but now it's actually becoming almost a full-time job to bring all these people together and be out there. But you're doing it from the heart. You're not doing it, you know, from any other direction. And I think this is really important. And I think people should really understand where the passion comes from and why you're doing this.
I appreciate you saying that, Dave. Yeah, it is 100% a labor of love and a lost leader, as they say. We started a nonprofit organization shortly after we returned from the Fine Home Building Summit in 2019, so that we could basically try to bring that level of building science education and a place to unite the building science community in our market. Because frankly, the middle of the map, it's not a high performance mecca, but we're trying to get it there. And so the experience we had at the Fine Home Building Summit inspired us to try and bring that to Kansas City. We've created a nonprofit so that we could accept sponsorship donations, and the sponsors fully funded that event for the first 2 years. Unfortunately, as you guys know, the costs of goods and services, top-notch speakers, venues, things like AV, as you guys are well aware, they do have a cost. And so what we had seen in the second year specifically, we had so many people register because it was a hot commodity and everyone wanted to be there. But we had almost 20% of our people that registered not show up because we weren't asking them to put any skin in the game. So we were turning people away saying, hey, we're full. We can't have you come. Everyone's reserved their spot. And then we ended up donating, I think, upwards of $3,800 worth of food to homeless shelters because we didn't have the people show up that said they were going to be there. We had 20-some empty seats in the room, and those seats need to be full. We can't do any good if you don't let us share the information that we're getting in and the excellent presentations of these speakers. So in the third year, we added a fee to your registration of $100 that went directly to Keep Craft Alive. Skills USA is where that money went. And then we also would try to do some things locally. And that we can talk more of that as we talk about the growth of the event into other markets. But essentially, the BS and Beer KC organization is a nonprofit building science education fund that allows us to pull in the help of our sponsors, the great folks that we know and rely on for all these great products, the research and development that's allowing our industry to advance so much easier than it used to be. And those folks are essentially carrying the heavy weight of, putting on an $60,000 to $80,000 event when the attendees have 2 days of all-day building science presentations with all their meals covered and the beer for only $170. It's a pretty special thing, but yeah, there's no money in it for us.
Let's talk about this a little bit, right? I mean, I know there's no money in it for it, but the value in it for you is the education and the learning. And, I take, for example, like you guys are two very well-known experts in the building science world, right? And here you are on a job site fixing something that had an issue with frost, right? So that goes to show that there's always something to be learned and understood, and that this isn't as simple as it sounds all the time. And therefore, this is an experience to me that you would bring to that symposium and share with others as to why that happened, I would imagine. But this is what the value of it is. And you guys are always trying to better yourselves so you can build better homes for your customers.
100% correct. they call it building science, but it's not an exact science. And every job site's different, and especially as you branch out across the country, every climate zone's different. So we try to not be specific to one climate zone. We talk about multiple things that affects, there's details that work in climate zone 1 that also work in climate zone 7. There's a lot of differences also. So, and then from Travis and I's perspective, this is a little bit, I wouldn't call it selfish, but it's something we really enjoy. It's a passion project that, we don't need to personally go to every one of these events, but I love to. I look forward to it. I work twice as hard in preparation to go. And then I feel reinvigorated when I get back. And so that's, there's a little bit of selfishness in all that.
That's very true. The enjoyment that we get, being able to, especially now that it is a series and it's traveling from location to location, it allows us to see our friends, the guys that you see at JLC, the guys that you see at SASHCO, that you see at IBS, the crews that you get to interact with, and the opportunity to, again, engage in that community of shared knowledge is the most important part of it. Even though the presentations are great and all of our presenters are bringing top-notch game, there's no replacement in my view for being in the room and having those conversations around the presentations. That to me is one of the most important parts of it. It really is about being part of that community. And
I'll echo that. I'll echo that as an attendee, a 2-time attendee to Kansas City. So 3 years running there, you have the speakers that people know. It's Jake Bruton, it's Stephen Basic that are coming there. And then the BS, yes, is building science. The beer, as Joe mentioned, is the brewery that brings that forward. And then in a regional front, you have a favorite of all of ours, right? Randy Williams, right? There's no one that knows the problems of Minnesota buildings and the opportunities to fix them. So sometimes in short conversation, people hear building science, they're like, oh, well, that's the way of what works. Actually, building science is the discovery of what's happening, right? So much of it is involved because of the disasters that we've uncovered, right?
Well said.
Some people are like, oh, I'm building science. I've got it all figured out. No, you're building science because there was a mold bath in the last 4 projects down the street. And the manufacturers and the craftsmen of the industry have uncovered this. And they're telling you, don't do that.
Right. You've created a really nice segue there into our additional speakers for the North Central, the first of the 23 series. Our Canadian friends have me thinking 24. Wait your turn, Sean. You wait. We're getting there. The North Central Building Science Symposium is going to feature Jake and Steve, who have presented at all of them because they were so generous in the first year. Joe and I have a lot of loyalty there. They basically said, hey, I know. We asked them if they would come and do Kansas City just for a day. And they said, yeah, don't worry about the money. If there's money in it, we'll do it. If there's money not in it, we'll do it. We'll be there. And if we hadn't had that initial commitment from them, this would never gotten off of the ground. So now that we have that working well, we can add great people that you see here on the screen now, like Randy, but also John Straub and Coda Ueno. So I'll talk about Coda first because of how you segued this, Mark. When you talk about failures in our industry and the building science that we're talking about being essentially building diagnosis, problems that you're seeing have to be addressed. Coda's role at Building Science Corp, which everyone knows from the famed Joe Steebrook, and really where Steve got his start, Coda is almost like a human computer is what Steve always says, because he has done these building investigations, tabulated that data, and has done so much in sharing that information that really he has shaped, in my opinion, he has shaped what we know in our community and in our building industry at large so heavily that we asked him to come present on how do we know what we know. And that's what I want from Coda. I want to understand how did we get here with this knowledge that we have now? what led you to this result, and that's what code is going to bring. And then of course you see John Straub on there. Dr. Straub, man, who's done more for rain screens? Who's talked more about water management on that high of a level than Straub? So those two guys are a great add. And because it is a regional event, they will be in Minneapolis on May 9th and 10th at the North Central, but they may not be at the other locations. So if you want to see those guys, you need to get to the North Central, and there are still seats available. I think we're only about 60% full. So you've got time to get registered after you watch this. Go ahead and get it done, because you won't want to miss those two. I don't know that we'll have Straub at our next one. He's got a lot of schedule issues, so keep that in mind.
So it sounds
as these shows come around, I remember, because there's times at these shows to sit and break bread, to have some good barbecue, to have a beer and a meat, and you hear from the folks that are there, but you also hear from the people on Instagram and the people that are texting you, oh, they're doing it there, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go to Kansas City. Well, you know what? I love Kansas City. I love getting there early, surprising Joe and Travis, and checking their wiring, and being there when the inspectors are at their job, all that fun stuff, right? Wink, wink. But at the end of the day, a chance to see Coda or John is a must. It's a must. They're brilliant, right? And they're hilarious, right? It's building science is a bit boring. So to add a little comedy, it is. Sorry, cat's out of the bag. But
I disagree. The door can be but go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're around Minnesota, or if you're not, and you know people that are, that is your obligation to say, hey, get your butt in the chair, spill get some food in you, and listen to these five people. I guarantee you'll walk away with answers, and you'll walk away questioning things. When Randy Williams talks, he doesn't always give you the answers. He causes you to create questions in your professional career. So get over there and sign up, because man, May is coming. April is gone, baby.
We're only a month out. Yeah, you make a good point, Mark. The idea of reaching out to someone and getting an answer in our industry is not what it is in a library. Hey, I'm looking for this book. Okay, here's the card catalog for my age, or go to the computer and it's in this spot. That's not how this works. What these people are doing is arming us with the tools to find the answers, because the problems are so nuanced from job site to job site, climate zone to climate zone. Randy can help you understand the principles of the building diagnostics that he teaches on, and then you can apply that to your scenario. He's not going to tell you, oh yeah, your blower door score is going to be a 6. Well, he can't know that, but you can go and find that out, and he'll tell you how.
So, all right, I'm going to agree with Mark on building science and can put me to sleep. But here's the deal. That's what it used to be like for me. It's not the building science part that I find exciting. What I find exciting is when I take what somebody's talking about, which I suck at, right? Like hearing is not my thing. Doing is my thing. And working with somebody and saying, hey, Joe, or hey, Travis, I'm on the job. I know we were at the symposium. I met you there. I remember the speaker talking about this. Can you just walk me through how this works? It's the networking. And when you sit around other people that are really passionate, we're builders. We're not scientists. Most of us hated high school. Think about it. We did, right? A lot. Well, at least I was not good at high school. The judge told me to get on that bus or that bus, and one was going to jail. The other one was with my recruiter standing on it. That's the way it worked for me. But I will say that, I do a lot of shows, and it's the networking. It's the bonding with like-minded people. You're not on an island by yourself. And just showing up at one of these events means you're interested, right? That's the interest part. But then you get to hang out with some people that aren't geeky scientists, but just love playing with science like you guys do in the field. And I think that's where the passion starts to build in other people. And then they start getting addicted on, can we be even better? And I think that's where it starts, because most of us leave these things, we go right back to the job site, and all of a sudden we have bills to pay, we got trades that want paid, we're struggling with getting paid from clients sometimes. There's all these other things that happen. But if they're with you guys and everybody else, like, you know, Jake and so forth, now they have a whole catalog or a book, phone book, full of people that are willing to help. And that's the difference, I think, on that. So building science isn't boring from the sense of doing. It'll put me to sleep if I had to sit there and listen to how some of these things work.
Well, Dave, I'd encourage you to come to Minneapolis. I know you're going to Europe, but if you come to Minneapolis on the 9th and 10th, I think you'll be pretty entertained. These are not boring presentations. These are pretty lively, and there's a lot of engagement.
Yeah,
There's a lot of back and forth.
I agree with you. I'm just teasing on that. I know these people, and I know that there's a reason this whole event is built around beer, because they like to have a good time. And I would imagine that the presentations will carry on through into the evening. And if you haven't met Jake Bruton, well, you're in for a surprise altogether.
He's shorter than everyone thinks.
Don't read the book by the cover on that one.
So it's also important to point out that while you're sitting there and at the breaks, it's not just the professionals in your market and the professionals that come there. It's not just Joe and Travis. It's not just the 5 presenters. You've got the folks from Huber, from Anderson, from Sashco, from Atlas, from Rockwool, from the Energy Conservatory and Fine Home Building. All of these folks are there too. And that's just at the Minnesota one. Did I miss any of them?
Boy, you put me on the spot. I thought we might have had a couple more in there to name it. I'll botch it if I go for it. But your point is valid, regardless of whether or not we name every sponsor.
Right.
The thing that we have to focus on is these people are our partners in our work. They are not just a seller. They are a resource, an expert in materials application, in compatibility, in technique, in acquisition, all the things that we have to deal with to solve these problems in the field. They are working on that solution from their angle all the time. So that's an excellent resource that we can take advantage of at these events, where you can stand with Dan Edelman and say, hey, I really was hoping to do this exterior insulation, but we got an open joint cladding and I'm just not sure how I would protect that. And you can go, oh yeah, we've got cavity rock for you. It's got a coating on it that's black already, and you won't need to put anything over it. It's fine. Well, you won't see that at Lowe's or Home Depot. That's a specialty product for a special solution. And if you don't go and talk to these people, you won't know about it. You won't know the ways that you can commission your air handler that TEC has been working on, so that you can actually deliver the performance that you're specifying in that manual J, and verify how the house is going to work before you do have a problem, because it's not working the way it's designed.
I'll tell you, I'm going to add on to that one in particular, because Randy Williams and Steve from the Energy Conservatory, I know, are all going to be there. And you can bet Joe and Travis are going to be hanging out with them. Just the chance to listen and learn from their discourse of what they're saying. I mean, it's incredible. This is real world problem solving that they have a career of expertise in. And those stories that you get, like someone will just bring something up and then it's rocket fuel, right?
Yeah.
It spreads. I was in awe at so it's the right size. It's the right size venues that you guys pick out. It's the right amount of guests, right? That's an interesting balance. Sometimes we're in events that as a bad venue. Sometimes we're in events that there's too many people and we don't get quality time. So that conversation, I mean, I remember sitting for 45 minutes with Joe at the Energy Conservatory booth in Kansas City, and we walked away wanting another hour, but we couldn't give it, right?
Yep. So that's all done very intentional, because when we went to the building science, or the summit, the Fine Home Building Summit, you know, you'd have these breakout sessions, and then you'd mingle, and then everyone would hang out at the bar afterwards. And that's what anybody can go to a conference, 500 people. What we're really looking for is the right venue, the right amount of people, the right sponsors, because they have to be sponsors that kind of follow our morals. And surprisingly, that takes a lot of time. Finding the venues, especially traveling around, has been a pretty good challenge, I'd say.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We have the help of Cheryl Lewis Associates, who you guys have been associated with for her work at IBS and other trade shows. She has really taken hold of the expansion of the Symposium series from just the Midwest Building Science Symposium in Kansas City to really allow it to get to Chattanooga and Austin and DC to support these local BS and beer markets. And the intentional small size of that makes that doable, but it has that incredible value that Mark and Joe are talking about. The thing that you have to keep in mind is the building science community is global, and we are going to keep expanding to other markets. We're not in Kansas City this year. We are skipping Kansas City, which is our market. Obviously, that's where we want to have it every year. That's where it started. But we see a need. We see these groups, these building science and beer groups that are forming. And Robbie Schwartz has done a great job with the one in Denver. And we said, hey, this year, instead of Kansas City, let's go 8 hours west. Let's be part of that market. So we're going to do Rocky Mountain, I believe at Oasis Brewery in September instead of Kansas City at Boulevard, because 4 events a year is a lot for us to manage and for Cheryl and for, frankly, our speakers and presenters and for the community. We don't want to oversaturate, obviously.
Right.
And everybody can go to IBS. That's one big thing once a year. Everyone can go to JLC and do one big thing there. And I think that's great. I really enjoyed IBS. I botched it and didn't get to JLC this year, but I'm going to make it next year. But our events are intentionally small, so they need to be regional. And that's how we get that engagement. And with the extra work that Cheryl and Redley put in to find these venues and make sure that they're the right ones for us. And then the heavy lifting of talking to a sponsor and saying, hey, we're doing 4 events, not 1. Would you like to sponsor all of them? Because some of those sponsors are regional too. There's not a huge call for, I don't even know what the right product to point out is. Some products don't sell well in Texas, for example, and others sell really well in Minneapolis. So different sponsors want to be in different markets. Yeah. It's not a blanket statement for everyone. Dehumidification. I don't know that Santa Fe is presenting with us in Minneapolis. I think they should. Nikki Kruger and our friends at Thermostor are always welcome. But I think that they have humidity issues in different parts of the climate zone map. And those are the areas that they should show their product in. I know that SIGA, we're going to have Etienne with us in Minneapolis. I'm not sure if SIGA is a sponsor, but I know Etienne's going to be there. I really am excited about seeing him. He's a great leader in our community as well. But in different markets, SIGA sells really well, and that they're in business to make money. They have to sponsor in an area that they're trying to grow in or to support their local community.
So what I'm hearing here, gentlemen, one is I love the fact that you're just not getting in bed with anybody. It has to be the right sponsors that support the industry and believe in the mission. We do the same thing here on Dave Cooper Live. Like, it just can't be anybody. It won't work that way. And it doesn't bring value to the people that are attending these events and they're working with, nor does it bring value to the real people that need this, is the end consumer, which you all deliver to, right? Regardless of what that is. And secondly, the other side, Mark, you hit on this as well. Having the right people present the right information to the right audience that makes it fun, makes it exciting, and you have beer while doing it, and you're excited about the next day as well as you were the first day because you're having fun. But then there's the collaboration and the mentorship that happens with all these people that have been doing it forever. And just like you guys, you learn from all the other people. So no question's a dumb question in this industry. Clearly, you didn't get something right at the job you're at now, and you guys are out there trying to figure out what's going on and how not to do that again. It's a nonstop learning thing, and I think that's what's really valuable. And clearly, if that's my word of the day, you guys continue to keep showing that over and over again, that you talk about, hey, this is how it should be done, and this is where we may have screwed up in the past, but this is how we've learned to fix it. It's all part of it. I love it, guys. Well done.
The people that are feeling left out right now, hearing that Kansas City Building Science Symposium isn't happening, there's still great news for you. BS and Beer KC has events all the time, right?
Every month. We just had one earlier this week.
So it's like, yeah, you might not get this big grand symposium this year, which means you got to show up in another city. Wink, wink. But every month you guys have great events, as BS and Beer KC, the epicenter of where this all began. And I know it's Friday. People have a lot going on. There's also a launch that happened that we would be remiss if we didn't bring up, and that is our favorite, the student edition. The
Yes.
wallassembly.com is live, it's active, and it's waiting for you to share and invite students. Joe, Travis, tell everyone about how much we love the wallassembly.com.
Wallassembly.com is really a fantastic website that everyone should visit who has any interest in building. But the Wall Assembly competition that we now host annually with Connor Malloy, Connor's really doing the heavy lifting on that. If you don't follow Design, Build, Educate on Instagram, or really anything you see that has Connor Malloy associated with it, you're missing out, because he's a treasure in our industry, not just as an educator, but as someone whose heart and passion to really progress building trades education. It's evident and fruitful. So if you go to wallassembly.com, you can see that this is a competition that started kind of as a way to supplant the loss of the Sweet 16 March Madness tournament back in the beginning of the pandemic. Correct. We're like, well, we'll just do a wall assembly one. And it was sort of a popularity contest on Instagram. It was open to professionals, and we did, counting votes on Instagram for how to move people through the bracket. What it's morphed into is really a service to the future of our industry, because the way that Connor has organized this, with the rubric for scoring and the professional input from the judges, it now has tremendous value in shaping the future of our industry. The students that are coming up in their trades education programs now, and I shouldn't just say trades, because people don't think of architecture as a trade. These are people that are going to be designing your home. These are passive house consultants in the future. They might be chemical engineers. They might be structural. They may be architects, and they also may be building trades professionals as well. But it's important to understand that this is a wall assembly competition that is as simple as show us your assembly, what you want to make to solve the problem in your climate, and how you're going to do it. Submit that. We'll have the judging panel review it. They'll give you the commentary back on it, which is another opportunity to learn. We've had, some of the top minds in our industry every year basically take a day out of their schedule and just review and comment on how to make this better. Here's where you made a perfect entry. Here's what fell short. Here's how I would address it in my market. And you're getting Christine Williamson, who is a professional teacher of building science, but also now at the university level. She's giving you notes on how to improve your wall assembly, pages and pages of free instruction. So Mike Girton, the same on the buildability side, like, hey, this is great, but the efficiencies will be lost if you don't address this. Those comments are just as valuable, and they're timeless. So you can go to wallassembly.com and look at last year's entries before you decide what you want to enter this year. And it's open to anyone who is a student in the trades, in architecture, in design, any student. This is not a professional competition. If Dave sends me an entry, I'll definitely review it. And I appreciate the help, because I can always use more help from smart guys like you. But you can't win the scholarship, bud. We've got $20K in sponsor donations that goes back into these kids' pockets, either in the form of cold hard cash or as scholarships. And that's something that I think really can make a big difference in our industry. So I'm grateful to Connor and Joe, and of course to you guys for giving it a little bit of light of day.
Perfect.
Perfect, everybody. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
When people are looking at that website, know that you could go back and look at the previous years, right? So just for the knowledge sake, if you're not able to compete, and for some reason you're not interested in inspiring others to compete, shame on you, by the way. But if you don't share it, learn from it. It is a great resource. It's magical that domain was not taken. I mean, that just tells you that the universe was waiting for this to be developed. It's the best domain ever. It's what's always going to stick with us. These generations from Michael Maines, Matt Bloomquist, Dylan Ingwe. I forgot the folks from last year, Giancarlo. Right? Dive into that. Dave's got it up there. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. And bsbkc.org.
Perfect. Did we leave anything out, Joe and Travis? We're about out of time here, so let us know what did we leave out? I mean, other than you guys having halos on your heads and wings.
Yeah, give us a tease.
Can we tease the future? Do you guys mind? Like,
bring it
everybody
on.
knows that we've got the North Central coming up May 9th and 10th, and they know they can register for that at bsnbeer.org. But what they might not know is that you can click on the Symposium's link on that website, and you will see where we're going to be for the rest of 23. So in addition to Minneapolis, we've also got probably Charlton, Mass, or it could end up being in Connecticut at Two Roads Brewery. That's our next one. That's in June. Again, we're going to have a different speaker lineup there. I'm willing to tease Ross Trethewey. So if you're interested in indoor air quality and heat pump performance and mechanical systems, you don't want to miss that one. You've also we already talked about Denver in September, but if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, you might be getting excited about October when we're going to be at Lenny Boy Brewery again with an all-star cast. So that's this year. But last night on the show that Mark referenced in my introduction, we announced a BS and Beer Canada, and we're tipping our hand a little bit. There's going to be an across the border symposium next year, probably in the Toronto area, but maybe more. So get involved, stay involved, keep watching BS Friday with Dave and Mark so that you know what's going on in your industry and you're getting smarter every day. Gentlemen, we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity and for all the work you do in our industry.
2 thumbs up.
So
thank you.
A quick review. The Building Symposium series is North Central, it's Northeast, it's Rocky Mountain, it's Southeast, and it might be Canada, eh?
Next year, 24, baby.
24.
I know how you guys work. It could be next Tuesday, right? Bring on the maple syrup.
I'm not even going to ask where you got a Tim Hortons mug that size. Like, what is it? A Christmas ornament?
This is espresso size. This is a gift from Gina Hoyt, right?
Yeah.
So Gina brought this in.
Pinkies up with your Tim Hortons. Pinkies up. There you go.
I didn't even know they did espressos at Tim Hortons. But hey, Mark, I guess. Mark, I'm surprised, man. I'm glad you said it was for your espresso and not for your dollhouse. So that's good.
I'll tell you what. Big Dog Life, Big Dog Construction. You guys all follow them on IG. They brought me this Tim Hortons. I guarantee you, this will be on every BS Friday and all the other shows I do. This is my way of saying our buddies are with us. Right? There's a shout out to all those fine folks. Joe, Travis, Joe, are going to be in Minnesota.
Yep. Thank you.
You got to get there in May, and you have to bring people. You don't have to put on the show. You just have to invite people. Get there. I guarantee you, you're going to want to hear what John and Coda have to say.
Yes, 100%.
Perfect. Hey, well, listen, you guys will be happy to know on Monday we have Jerry Smalley on the show. Blueprint Robotics, the CEO, is going to be on the show this Monday. So I know all of you guys love Blueprint Robotics. You know, they're making some strides into the passive house world, as well as just the energy efficient wall assembly world, which is great to see. And they just announced on our channel that there's a brand new manufacturing facility that's going to open up. One of the largest CLT built manufacturing facilities ever in the United States. That's what I'm told. So that's what we're going with. How cool is that? So now there's going to be not just one, but two. And guess what, Joe and Travis? Too bad. Well, not too bad. That Connecticut event. It's real close to where the new facility is going to go up. So there might be some fodder to have there if something comes together. Just remember, you heard it right here from Dave Cooper Live first. All right, listen, clearly I'm at the beach. You guys want to see where I'm sitting? You want to see this? Watch this. I'll show you where I'm at here. Check us out.
Oh, I feel for you, Dave. That's a hard life.
That's the bridge, because I was traveling on that highway and needed to find a place to stop, and there was a pull off underneath here. How cool is
you're
that?
The guy under the bridge?
I am the guy under the bridge.
You know what? That's the largest thermal bridge east of the Mississippi.
It might be. Not bad though, right? Pretty good digs. Now let me figure out how I go back to what I was doing before. There we go.
Double camera action. Dave Cooper live. You don't get this every week. You get that because Travis and Joe are with us. Hey guys, enjoy your time with your families. Double Dave. Double Dave.
Too much. That's even too much for me to handle.
Perfect.
All right.
Have a great holiday, everyone.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Joe, Travis, thanks again so much. You guys really are rock stars. And just from a personal note, I got to travel to Switzerland with both of you guys, and we got to spend some personal time together. You two are two of the nicest guys out there. So if anybody deserves the success of these events and for people to meet you, it's you guys. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to being at one of these events sometime soon.
You're too kind, Dave. We'd love to have you at all of them. Come on.
I appreciate it. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Have a good one. Guys, I got to get out of here and get back to the world of vacation. The rest of you have an awesome day, and I'll catch you on we'll catch you on the road somewhere. Tune in Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Jerry Smalley, Blueprint Robotics, this Monday. Bye now.